Yeah. Savannah, keep a clashing on to you. Hey, wanna talk to me? Savannah, dim like thoughts, honey. Hey, do you? I don't wanna make you feel like you got a shitty ass boy, but you do. I don't wanna.
Of it, when you get to the very top, you see every single one. The 12 o'clock position, you see about 40 miles across. So it is a brilliant way to see London quickly, as it is only a half an hour trip. You get on, you get off the wheel as it moves. So half an hour, you've seen around 40 miles. Over to your left, you've got the large Gothic style building. This is Whitehall Court Mansion. That's home to the 5-star hotel, the Royal Horse Guards Hotel. And then to your left, you've got the building of the 2 arched roofs. This is the Charing Cross Railway Station. They say that is the most central point for London. And they designed the building to look like a train coming out of a tunnel. Doesn't look anything like a train coming out of a tunnel, but that is the design of that building there to your left. And the railway line that feeds the station is the first bridge on your journey. This is the Charing Cross Railway Bridge. Either side the railway line, you've got the walkways. Ladies, they've done a fantastic job, as you can see. This is the only bridge ever built on time. So well done, a fantastic job. The concrete building to your right, that is this country's National Theatre. In that building, there's 3 theatres. There's some of the best theatres in the country. The outside lets it down. It's an ugly building, looks like a car park, but in there, very different. 3 of the best theatres. Somerset House to your left. It was built for royalty. This is a royal residence for the Dukes, the Earls of Somerset. And also built for royalty, you've got the boats to your left. The black and white boat is the St. Catherine with a black canopy on the top. That's a bar and a restaurant today. But when it was a working boat, it would go up and down the river and it carried the royal family. Every time the royal family came onto the Thames, that is the boat they would have used. The larger ship further along is called the Wellington. It was part of the New Zealand Navy. It is permanently on the Thames as a livery hall for the Honourable Company of Master Mariners. You might recognise the ship if you watch programmes on the telly on ITV. This part of the river they film across. They use it as the backdrop for programmes like Good Morning Britain and the ITV News. The studios for ITV, they used to be to your right. They don't film here anymore, but they left the camera behind the black glass windows in this white building to your right. They zoom into the boats. You never know as we go past. You could all be on that national telly. So show them how much fun you're having. You're here with someone you shouldn't be with. Duck. You never know. People can get caught out. The large red brick building to your right, this is the OXO building. You've probably heard of the stock cube, the famous OXO stock cube. This is where they used to make it. You can see today this is apartments, but it used to be a warehouse. The top floor of the building, the balcony at the top, that's a restaurant run by Harvey Nichols. Gets voted as one of the top 5 restaurants here in London. And above the restaurant, of course, you've got the tower with the letters OXO. Every night, those letters, they shine out in red. It's become an iconic building. To your left, through the cranes, the barges, you've got the building of the green steeped roof. That was the City of London School for Boys, where some of this country's past politicians, members of Parliament, spent early education. Not a school today, that's a bank, a wealthy American bank, JP Morgan. And then the bridge in front of us, this is the lowest bridge you will pass through on the journey. This is the Blackfriars Road Bridge. Looking in front of us, it doesn't look like there will be much room above the boat to get this boat down through that bridge. We've got St. Paul's Cathedral, Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece. Dominates the skyline, as you can see, the tallest building by law in that area. They can't cast a shadow on St. Paul's. And it stands 365 feet. It took 35 years to build. They finished in 1710. You can stand above the dome of St. Paul's. At the top of the dome, you see the railings that go round. That's a viewing platform. It's called the Golden Gallery. So you can get up there, you stand above, you can look over London. Visit St. Paul's on a Sunday, you visit free of charge. Every single Sunday throughout the year, you don't pay to visit. And if you get there early enough, you can join the service, and that is a brilliant experience, the Sunday service at St. Paul's, and it's free as well. Like most churches, of course, they do ask you for a donation at the end, but that is up to you. If you've enjoyed it, there'll be a donation pot, and you can throw something in. Most people do, of course, as the service is free, and they try to encourage a little note in their bucket. They call it the silent collection at St. Paul's. Here to your right, you've got the white round building with the thatched roof. That's the William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. This is a replica to a theatre. Used to stand here at Banksides. And this is where you can watch one of William Shakespeare's plays. And all of the plays, they're performed traditionally, exactly as they would have been performed in the 1500s. So no stage lighting, there's no microphones, no PA systems, and actors that dress up. That theatre holds 2,000 people. There's always tickets available, 2 plays every day, all the way through the summer. Brilliant value for money. You get a seated ticket for about £45, but you can get a standing ticket. You can save your money, get the standing ticket, and it's only £10. So brilliant for live entertainment here in London. And then this bridge, this is the Southwark Road Bridge. The area to your right, this is all the borough of Southwark. So one of the 32 London boroughs. And then here to your right, there's a pub. That pub is called the Anchor, and it was built 1615. So parts of that pub, 400 years old. This is a famous pub on the Thames. And famous people have been in that pub. Over the years, you've had William Shakespeare use the pub as changing rooms before performing in the theatres nearby. Sir Christopher Wren has been in that pub because he lived close by. Dr. Johnson, the famous diarist, he's also been in films. It was in Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise is in the pub at the end. Russell Brand in the film Getting to the Creek. So that is a famous riverside pub. And there's a pirate ship to your right. This is a working replica to Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind. Sir Francis Drake, he was the first English captain that sailed a ship around the world. He did that journey on a ship identical to this one to your right. This looks like a model, but that is a full working ship. Sailed the world twice. And then the bridge in front of us, this is London Bridge. A London bridge has stood on the river for 2,000 years. This is the 5th London Bridge. This bridge was built 1973, and the bridge that stood before this one was sinking into the mud, so they had to take it down. The pieces of that bridge, they were sold to an American oil tycoon called Robert McCulloch. He bought London Bridge for $2 million. And those pieces, they were shipped off to California. And they drove the pieces inland to the desert. And they rebuilt London Bridge in Arizona, Lake Havasu City, as a tourist attraction. That is a famous story. London Bridge, bought by an American and rebuilt in Arizona. Apparently, he bought the wrong bridge. Apparently, he thought he was buying the Tower Bridge. He bought the wrong one. Bought London Bridge instead. And here to your right, you got the Shard. That is Western Europe's tallest building, standing just over 1,000 feet. You can go up the Shard, you go right up there to the 72nd floor. And that is where you can get the views over London. A viewing platform at the very top of that building. They designed the Shard to look like broken glass. People always think it's not finished yet, but it is finished. Designed as broken glass that's fell from the sky. So the Shard of Glass, Western Europe's tallest building. You got other glass buildings to your left as well. The one closest to us is number 20 Fenchurch Street. You may know it as the Walkie Talkie Building. Look at the top of it. See the balcony with the people? That's called the Sky Garden. We like to mention the Sky Garden because you go free of charge. And that platform, that balcony, is 100 feet taller than the London Eye. So you get brilliant views over London. You've saved yourself some money. And there's a bar at the top as well. There's a bar and a restaurant, and it's the world's largest indoor rooftop garden. And you go there for free, so save yourself some money. Here to your right, the warship, permanently on the river. This is a museum, tourist attraction. A powerful ship years ago. So the HMS Belfast, built in Northern Ireland, built in Belfast, in the same shipyard where they built the Titanic, the ill-fated ship. There is 9 levels. You go right through the engine rooms to the captain's wheelbox on top. You get an audio guide, a headset at the entrance. Every time you go in a different room, it tells you of the history of what went on in that very room when it was a working ship. So a brilliant museum, very popular, the HMS Belfast. And you've got the glass buildings to your right. These are all office buildings. They replaced the warehouses that used to stand here on your right. The first glass building to come up was the one on the river's edge. People often ask about it because of the design. It is designed to look like a motorcycle crash helmet. Here to your right, designed by Norman Foster as a motorcycle crash helmet. It cost £35 million to build the building. And it is the offices for Sadiq Khan. He's the mayor for Greater London. This is where he comes to work. The building was built for Ken Livingstone. He was replaced as mayor for London by Boris Johnson, the current Prime Minister. He was then replaced by Sadiq Khan, who has been recently re-elected. They couldn't come up with a name for the building, here to your right, so they paid a separate company gates. And beneath those words, you see the top of a bricked up arch. That archway, it would have been open years ago. There was the entrance for traitors to pass through. Traitors, they were found guilty of treason at the Parliament building. They put the traitors into boats. The job of a waterman years ago, like me and my friend, the job of a waterman, bring the traitors down and row them through the archway to be executed. Traitors to the crown, the punishment, execution. Commoners, they were took onto Tower Hill, and in front of a crowd, they would have been hung, drawn, and quartered. Friends of royalty, popular people, they were took into the castle, into the bloody tower, and they had their head removed. A private execution. And it didn't end there, because their head, it would have been dipped into boiling tar. They would have put their head on a spike. They put the spike and their head on the London Bridge. On the medieval London Bridge, they displayed heads of traitors. They put their heads on the bridge as a deterrent, as a warning to try and stop other traitors from crossing the river to carry out treason in the city of London. They would have had to pass through the heads. And there was always about 30 heads on London Bridge. So imagine it, a gruesome deterrent years ago. They don't do it anymore. Today the castle is a tourist attraction and it is home now to the Queen's crown jewels. And here on your right, look at the photo you get as we turn the boat round. Tower Bridge, built in 1894, designed by a man called Sir John Wolfbarry. They built Tower Bridge in the Gothic style, so it blends in with the Tower of London that sits next door. The middle of the bridge lifts up, opens up like a double-sided drawbridge to allow the ships to pass through. To watch the bridge open, you have to be very lucky. You need to be in the right place at the right time to watch that bridge open up. It only takes 90 seconds to lift. The only way you can find out when the bridge will open is by looking on the website. There is no schedule for when they lift it up. Now for your safety, while we get into the pier, just stay seated until we're safely tied up. Just in case the boat does bump as we touch the pier, to avoid any accidents, just hold on as best you can. Expect a bump, stay seated until we're safely tied up. Now, this boat will be returning back to Westminster. You're more than welcome to go straight back. We always recommend spending a bit of time in the areas that we visit. There is later boats. There is a boat that goes back at 6:35. There's another one 6:55 and another one at 7:15. And at 7:15, that is the last boat back. So they're roughly running now every 20 minutes, right up until 7:15. And you can use your return ticket on every single returning boat. And there is a few things that you can see and do in this area. There's nice shops, there's pubs. You've got the Tower of London, you can walk around the outside, cross the river. Remember, you've got the Wimbledon and the pop-up bars there. So you might like to look around and get a later boat back. So we leave in 15 minutes time, and you're more than welcome to stay with us.